Picture this. You are an aspiring emperor with colossal shoes to fill. You have big guns, vast wealth, and even grander ambitions. Now stop imagining and consider the Kagi Imperium. They ruled the largest empire ever known, commanded the biggest ships, wielded the mightiest guns, and now had a new emperor wielding limitless power following his father's death. This was Primus Randus the Eager. From the start of his reign, Emperor Randus embarked on a relentless campaign of conquest throughout the known galaxy. He won easily. The ancients of Sagittarius, the wise of Norma, and the mighty of Perseus, each boasting formidable fleets, surrendered when faced with the fury of a single KG battlecruiser, unwilling to incur terrible losses. When the Imperium's expansion reached a small fractured union of systems in Orion inhabited by a species known as humans, there was no Grand Council convened. Mere strike groups were dispatched to subjugate these hundreds of worlds without ceremony. After all, they were just another first-contact species destined for vassalage. To understand what happened next, let me explain how warfare usually occurred in the Milky Way. Opposing fleets met on a designated battlefield, lining up in honorable formation to display their might. They advanced in broadside lines, exchanging volleys at visually close range. This approach limited casualties and collateral damage. Battles ended quickly, hours at most, and entire wars rarely lasted more than a few days. It was considered cheaper to become a vassal than to risk the annihilation of dreadnought fleets. Combat followed a predictable pattern. One side surrendered as soon as it was at a clear disadvantage, withdrawing for repairs. This cycle repeated until the victor reached a crucial enemy system, forcing full capitulation. Most conflicts ended there. This was the accepted doctrine of warfare and honor. No one had ever seen a war last even a year. Strategy was simple, logistics modest, and no one prepared for a protracted conflict. Humanity changed everything. It was as if humans were forged into the perfect war machine. The standard rules of galactic warfare, striking first, striking fast, and never being struck, meant little to them. If you attacked humans, they would respond with everything they had, showing no regard for casualties. They would keep striking you again and again, however long it took, until your ability to fight was shattered, and your proud empire reduced to smoldering ruins. So when the KAG Imperium decided to attack humanity, their doom was already sealed. The humans sacrificed every last ship defending their haven system just to prevent the fall of Bastion, the banner world of the United Nations of Man. They fought to the last, spitefully denying the Imperium its prize. The small subjugation fleet was destroyed, but the humans paid a terrible price. Over 1 million souls lost for every enemy ship felled. From this tragedy sprang a defining moment. I will now share the most influential speech in galactic history, The Promise of Vengeance, delivered by President Julian Starman of the Free State of Bastion. When we gaze at the stars, humanity has always seen a frontier of endless opportunity. After today's tragic events, we see only fear and uncertainty. Unknown vessels came to our bastion of liberty. We greeted these aliens with generosity, kindness, and hospitality. In return, we were met with plasma fire the moment our diplomats entered visual range. Long-range communications picked up a single message from them. Do you submit? Our answer was no. They fired indiscriminately, aiming even at civilians. Our brave defenders charged their fleet repeatedly, losing millions. 99% of these were innocent bystanders. Yet even as we tore their ships apart, they kept shouting their question. Do you submit? Our answer remained gunfire. To anyone listening, Bastion will not submit. Humanity will not submit. Our ships will not submit. Not until every last individual responsible for these civilian deaths faces justice. No matter how long it takes, no matter how many stand in our way, justice will be done. Let it be known, as long as a single human draws breath, we will never accept defeat. We will never submit. The ripple effects of this speech echoed through the Milky Way for all time. Humanity transformed its loose confederation of independent worlds into a single united force dedicated to defending all humankind. The CAG Imperium resisted, sending thousands of their mightiest warships rampaging through human space for decades. Humans lost billions of lives, thousands of ships and dozens of systems, but their enemies eventually faltered. The Imperium's resources drained away. Vassals rebelled as the war dragged on. Internal strife tore the Imperium apart, and once loyal worlds declared independence. Meanwhile, humanity learned and adapted, salvaging wreckage and reverse engineering Imperial technologies. Armed with their enemies' secrets, human fleets began annihilating the last Imperial battle groups. Primus Randus the Eager, once triumphant, could only watch in terror as the ancients of Sagittarius, the wise of Norma, and the mighty of Perseus joined forces with humanity and stormed his crown system. His fleets, still clinging to archaic doctrines of honorable warfare, were cut down like wheat. Randus, defeated and shamed, was dragged off his throne in chains. He stood trial for his crimes, facing now elderly Julian Starman. In desperation, Randus asked, "Why didn't you just submit like all the others?" Julian Starman, frail but unbowed, replied, "Submission is acceptance of defeat. We saw that as long as even a single human endures, our light is never extinguished. Humanity will never accept defeat. Therefore, we shall never submit." Randus lived out his days in a prison orbiting Bastion, forced to watch the planet's ever-growing lights, symbols of human resilience and ascendance to the stars. The era of humanity had begun, and he was but a footnote in the grand saga of their rise.